everybody. Welcome to another episode of ParanormalWarehouse.com review. I'm here with my good friend Chris Breggy Braggs. How are we doing?
Doing great, Michael Diamond. How are you?
I'm good, man. I just got back from a long trip. Me and two of my buddies drove out to good old Kansas City, Missouri. A home away from home at this point.
Right, you hit up the Kansas City Paracon, right?
I did. This is my fourth year attending. I missed last year, but I was there since year number one. That was the only year I missed, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that for our review.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, first of all, I want to thank Hector and Jason and everybody else who helped get that thing up and running. Every year it's been getting better and bigger, which is excellent. The vendors were great, and the people there are extremely nice. I feel like on the East Coast, the whole paranormal community can be a little catty. There's a bunch of niches. Everyone has their thing. There it's a little bit more open. People are open to ideas. They were chatting. It was a very nice experience. I'm going to have a bunch of pictures and stuff that I'll be spreading out while we talk about this. And I was also given the chance to talk about kind of the paranormal field right now and how it's existing and how we can improve it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it was good. So at the end of this video, I'll include my lecture that I had.
Okay. Yeah, I was actually just going to ask you about that.
Yeah, it went well. You know, we talked about what's going on, technology, how people really don't know what they're using. Well, some
Right.
people don't. And how easy it is to find this information. So it was just a lecture on how to improve what we're doing and what we're looking for.
Awesome. I'm upset I couldn't go. I was close to maybe being able to go, but
Then you bailed on friendship.
had to come back to California. So, yeah, no, but that's awesome. To move forward, a new thing we're doing now is we've started up some articles that we're running ourselves now, paranormal articles on ParanormalLowdown.com. If you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, you've seen them posted as of late. But yeah, we're just trying to write our own articles, things that's going on in the paranormal community right now, give our own opinion, and spread some news that's going on, and just also some cool experiments that people are trying, and just spreading the word on that and seeing if we can get other groups to actually try those as well.
Yeah, and I mean, if you like to write and you would maybe like to write for us, hit us up. We review your stuff. I mean, it's just the two of us trying to get as much out as possible. It's tough with real life. So if you guys want to help out, I'm really glad that my parakeets decided to join in on this show. I love them.
Looks like it. Yeah, but if you do have anything to write in, you could email us at ParanormalWarehouse@gmail.com or hit us up on Facebook. You can write us a direct message, and we'll be sure to read those too.
Yeah, and also, I totally forgot about this. We've talked about Bill Hyland's book, The Evolution of a Paranormal Investigator. It's also on Kindle, but it just went paperback.
What?
Yeah, so I'll
That's
add a link to that. Congratulations to Bill. It's
Definitely.
It's a great book. If you're interested in the paranormal, or if you're a paranormal investigator right now, it kind of shows his progress through the field, and he's in a good place right now with doing things right, so it'd be a good read.
Bill's awesome. Bill really helps us out with a lot, and especially on the science side of things. He really gives us some experiments to try out, and really breaks down equipment and everything else, which is awesome. So.
Yeah, it's nice to have someone smarter than you do that stuff.
It's true.
Okay, well, short and sweet. Again, thank you everyone from Kansas City. You guys are the best. You're like a second Midwest family to me at this point. And congratulations to Bill. And check out Paranormal Lowdown. And that's it. Boop-a-doop-doop-boo. Good. Slight scroll. All right. So my name is Mike Diamond. I run a website called ParanormalWarehouse.com. Basically, when I started this whole thing, got into paranormal from a young age, and actually after probably way too many drinks at the casino, I was talking with a buddy of mine, we came up with the idea to make a social networking site specifically dedicated towards paranormal investigators and helping to share their evidence and share ideas. So we came up with ParanormalWarehouse.com. We started up in 2011. We've been growing ever since, which is great. What I'm going to talk about today is kind of the paranormal community as a whole, our approach towards paranormal research, and the direction that I think that we should be going as a community together. So, from what I see nowadays, I feel like there's sort of a stagnant feel to paranormal research as a whole. It's kind of it blew up for a while. We have a bunch of new technology, a bunch of new theories that we're using, but for the past couple of years, it's kind of stayed the same, and I don't see it really progressing as much as it used to. And I tried to figure out why that was. I think a lot of it has to do, although the TV shows are excellent and it took the paranormal out of taboo, it's not weird to be a paranormal researcher anymore. It's not weird to go ghost hunting, which is great, but I think that they kind of took away from the people like the Warrens and earlier people who were really doing scientific research to kind of figure out what this was, and it kind of mixed things up and turned it more of a media, a popular thing. So Brian, let's give Brian a round of applause, by the way. He's helping me out. Thanks, Brian. All right. So the term belief is an acceptance that a statement is true or that something exists. I think a lot of people that are doing this paranormal research, I think that they want to believe that there's paranormal. I want to believe. I have hopes that when I go in to do research at a location that I'm going to find something. But I think that we're hanging too high our beliefs rather than analyzing what we're getting and how this technology is being used. So although belief is important and it's what drives me intrinsically within myself, I think that it's important to look at things analytically and kind of put your belief to the side and really try to figure out what's going on. And again, it's important to have your hopes, have the goals to go towards, but analysis is what's most important. Good. All right, so I'm going to touch on a couple of things that are still widely spread, but unfortunately, for the most part, have been disproven. And it's kind of a bummer when someone goes in and says, I don't think this might be paranormal, or something that you find is disproved later on. But it's also important that we do know this information so that we can put that aside, it's done, and we don't have to be confused with this kind of stuff. So orbs are a big topic. They became very popular, and a lot of people get it. Okay? But what most orbs are dust particulates that are found in the air. There are a lot of studies done by photographers back in the day, because these things ruin photographers' lives, because they're always dealing with dust getting the picture, and they've been working on ways to make that. But pretty much what this is a typical dust orb. So this dust is super tiny, but it's very close to the front of the camera, and it produces this dust. If you took a picture and like slapped a pillow or a blanket or something, and you snap a picture, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to get these orbs. So these are not paranormal. If you have ones that have color, and they're in this, most of these orbs come out perfectly round just because the particulate in the air is round. Okay? Pollens can turn out to look blue, green, red. They're pollen from flowers. During the spring you're going to get a lot of this. And one of my first pieces of paranormal evidence was something like this. It's like a purpley kind of amorphous shape. I thought that it kind of broke out of the typical orb, so I was excited about it. But we were outside in the woods, and all these are photographs of insects that have flown in front of the screen. So, as much as it might hurt to look at a piece of evidence and then decide, okay, I was really excited about this, but now I know. And in the future, that's not more exciting things later, but I'll be a downer for the next one. Alright, go ahead. Alright, flashlight experiment. Basically what you do is you take a flashlight, and it's like the twisty mag light ones. You put it in between the on and off. And what's happening is very simple. There's a piece of metal that connects the battery to the light. Okay? When the light heats up, the metal expands, and when it's at that air trigger kind of in between, this will lift off and shut the light off. And then when the light and the metal cools, they'll come back down and touch again. And this will go on until the battery runs out. So a lot of people use this experiment, they think that they're communicating with ghosts, but this is clearly disproven, and it's just one of those experiments that unfortunately has to be thrown out. And it's important to talk about this so that you guys can go and tell other people so that this isn't going on anymore. I mean, if you took a flashlight with one of the buttons and you put it down and that thing started going crazy, that's something else to explore. But the twisty flashlights, when you put it at that air trigger, it's simply a piece of metal heating up and cooling over and over again. It's not paranormal communication. So, right. I also wanted to talk about some technology that we've been using. Everybody knows EMF. Can anyone tell me what EMF stands for? Electromagnetic field. Good. And what the electromagnetic field, there is electromagnetic stuff shooting around us all the time. Radio waves. Our TVs produce them, our phones produce them. And they're built in wavelengths. So radio has very large wavelengths, and things like gamma rays and X-rays have very short wavelengths. And they're everywhere. Okay? Visible light is a part of electromagnetic frequency, infrared, the cameras that we use. And I think that there's kind of we use this technology, like we have our K2s, we have our bell meters, and that's great. We know it's using EMF for Brian, if you can switch. It's this simple kind of information that I'm going to talk about in a second that people don't know, and I'm not quite sure why this information isn't getting out there. It definitely helps to improve research, but these three, so the millimeter, the K2, and the ghost detector, they're all single axis technology. So you have to be pointing at what you want to research or whatever, the area that you want to go to discover it. And they range from 30 hertz on the millimeter to 300 hertz, which is really low. That's more radio, like the larger wavelengths. The K2, for the most part, can pick up things that the millimeter can't. It has a very wide range of the spectrum. So it goes from 50 hertz to 20 kilohertz, and kilohertz is 1,000 hertz. The ghost meter, 50 hertz to 1 kilohertz, and this triple axis meter, which is pretty awesome. If you want to save up and get it, I would definitely recommend this. It can detect magnetism, radio frequencies, electrical frequencies. You can actually turn the dial and really hone on what you want to look up. I'm not going to get into all the frequencies we just talked about it, but most people are going around thinking that because it's an EMF detector, it's doing the same thing, and it's not. Things that are being picked up on the K2 may not be picked up on the millimeter just because it's picking up the different frequencies. So it's important to get this information. I'm not sure why we haven't placed more importance on it, because I think that knowing your technology and what you're going in there to do is definitely important to understanding what we're trying to catch. Next, please. Brian, can you find the YouTube video one? Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to talk about the spirit box. Who here uses the spirit box? Don't be afraid here, don't be afraid. So the theory between the spirit box is that it will cycle through radio frequencies to pick up voices within that static realm. Or use clips from the radio to kind of make voices. And again, I'm not discounting the spirit box. This could be totally true. It could pick up spirit voices. I actually had a pretty wild experience in Gettysburg where I was having full sentences responding the only time the spirit box really worked for me, but it was a profound experience. But I'm going to give you an example of why these garbled voices may not be what you think. So, Brian, can you please go to 8 minutes and 53 seconds. By the way, this is a video. I have it on our YouTube page. This guy, Bill Highland, is super smart. Check it out. He's awesome.
Okay. There's not a whole lot to hear there, other than the music and the words. We can hear the words, but we have no idea what they mean. This represents to me the spirit box. It's full of all kind of audio information, but we can't make sense of any of it because we don't speak that language. So therefore, it's just inert to us. Now, what would you say if I could take that same song and I can force your brain to hear words that do not exist? And all I have to do is use a little bit of persuasion, and you will hear every one of these words, even though you and I both know they just don't exist. Go ahead and listen.
Alright, so where I really want to see the paranormal field start to focus is to really be doing true research, which is not as hard as it sounds. When I started Paranormal Warehouse, I wanted to have a place to share evidence, and I found that a lot of people are holding on to their evidence. There are a lot of people that are really excited to try to get on the shows, and it's kind of like devolved into this, I'm going to make a TV show and run it down and try to get as much information as I can, instead of focusing on specific experiments and really trying to figure out what it is. Because I mean, when I started this, I'm terrified of the afterlife. I think I'm fascinated by it. I think everybody deep down is. And I'm trying to really figure out what this is, what is it, how is it manipulating our equipment. So simply, scientific method, get a thesis, hypothesis, test that hypothesis, and you do it over and over again. And this is a simple thing for people to do. An example that my friend Tim Vickers has is he takes an item, so takes his blue marker. Someone from this team will run to the house, hide the blue marker, run back out, and then he'll have another person go in and try to get an EVP of the answer, tell them where the item is. And it's a simple experiment. We all have digital recorders. It's not super expensive. And what it is, it's basically the difference between qualitative and quantitative data. When we're going in there looking for paranormal stuff, we're collecting qualitative data. So it's things that we're experiencing, things that we can measure with our technology. And what the hopes is, everyone started doing this. If everyone really started focusing on things that they want to focus on in the paranormal, we can start collecting that data and create quantitative data, which is solid proof, and you can make graphs and all that fancy stuff. Really start proving stuff. So you go ahead. So we just came up, we created a paranormal database. It's where you can register your team, you put in your information, say you want to start, I want to look at experiments that people do on EVP. You can type in EVP and see what people around the world are doing to try to figure out what EVP is. This is a totally free system. We set it up, it's still in our early stages, so we would love for you guys to go on there and try it out and tell us what we can make better, what you guys like, and all that kind of stuff. And I truly do believe that if we start focusing and working together and stop being so disjointed, I feel like we can start making leaps and bounds, because we're all in this together, we're all working hard, taking our time away from our families, going through this research. I think it's important to try to figure out what actually is going on. Hope I didn't ramble on too much. You guys have been